Have you ever looked up at the stars and just wondered, why is our universe so perfectly set up for us? I don't just mean pleasant, I mean physically perfect, right down to the fundamental numbers that govern reality. Well, let's get into it, because we're about to explore one of the biggest, most mind-bending debates in all of modern physics and philosophy.
So, this is the big question, isn't it? Are we living in some kind of cosmic long shot, a one in a trillion miracle? Or is there another, maybe even wilder, explanation for why we exist at all? This one question has really pushed us toward two totally different, radical answers.
All right, here's our roadmap. We're going to start by really unpacking this fine-tuning puzzle. Then we'll look at the two main explanations on the table, a designer and the multiverse. We'll dig into why the multiverse idea is so compelling to so many people, and then we'll wrap up by looking at the ultimate choice this leaves us with. Are we seeing evidence of massive scale or intentional design?
Okay, so what exactly is this puzzle? Well, at its heart is a pretty staggering realization. Our entire universe is balanced on a knife's edge.
Think about the basic forces of physics. You know, stuff like the strength of gravity or the mass of an electron. What scientists have discovered is that these numbers are dialed in with an unbelievable, almost terrifying precision. If gravity were just a tiny bit stronger, the universe would have collapsed on itself right after the Big Bang. A little weaker, stars and galaxies never would have formed. No stars means no planets and, well, no us.
So, when you're staring down odds that are this astronomical, the first thing that might pop into your head is, this can't be an accident, it has to be intentional. And that right there is the core of the fine-tuning argument for a designer.
The philosopher Peter van Inwagen lays out the logic really clearly. Step 1, we observe that the universe is fine-tuned. Step 2, the best explanation seems to be that it was adjusted on purpose. Step 3, usually the best explanation for something turns out to be the right one. So, the conclusion? Some kind of agent or agents must have fine-tuned the universe.
Now, the intuition behind all this is captured perfectly by what van Inwagen calls the merchant's thumb principle. It's just a fancy name for a really simple, common-sense idea. When something wildly improbable happens, but there's a straightforward, purposeful explanation right there, it's kind of unreasonable to just shrug and call it a coincidence. And this analogy just nails it. Imagine you're told you have to draw the one and only short straw from a bundle of 1,000,000 to save your life. And you do it. You pull it out. Is your first thought really going to be, wow, I am just the luckiest person alive? No way. You're immediately going to suspect the game was rigged in your favor. The fine-tuning argument says our universe is that short straw.
But what if it wasn't just one chance to draw a straw? What if there were millions or billions or even an infinite number of drawings? This brings us to the other major explanation. It's a completely mind-bending alternative that comes at the problem from the angle of pure probability.
This is the multiverse objection. The idea is that our universe isn't the only game in town. It's just one bubble in a huge cosmic ocean of other universes. And the key part is, each of these other universes has its own randomly set physical laws. Most of them are duds, chaotic, empty, and totally lifeless.
And just changing your perspective like this flips the whole problem on its head. If there's only one universe, our existence looks like a miracle that pretty much screams for an explanation, like design. But if there's a multiverse, well then a life-friendly universe isn't a miracle at all. It's a statistical inevitability. It's bound to happen somewhere. Okay, you might be thinking, if there are all these other universes, why do we happen to be in one of the really special, life-friendly ones? Great question. And the answer has a name. The observational selection effect. It's basically a kind of cosmic survival bias. Of course, we find ourselves in a universe that can support us. We couldn't be anywhere else.
Here's a great way to think about it. Imagine a fisherman uses a net with really big holes. He goes out and all he ever catches are big fish. He might conclude, I guess only big fish exist in this lake. But we know that's not true, right? His net just lets all the small fish slip through. Our existence is like that net. We can only catch, or observe, a universe with laws that allow us to be here in the first place.
So why has this idea, which, let's be honest, sounds like something out of science fiction, become so popular with physicists and philosophers? What makes it such a powerful alternative to the idea of a designer?
Well, there are a few big reasons. First, as we said, it takes a wild improbability and turns it into a statistical near certainty. Second, this idea isn't just pulled out of thin air.
Some of our leading theories in physics, like string theory and cosmic inflation, actually seem to predict that a multiverse should exist. And third, for many, it's just a simpler explanation, because it keeps everything within the realm of natural laws we can study.
Now, that whole simplicity thing, it gets tricky, because both sides claim it. The designer argument says, hey, one designer is obviously simpler than a zillion universes. Fair enough. But the multiverse argument fires back and says simplicity isn't just about counting things, it's about the kinds of things. The multiverse just needs one kind of cause, a natural physical process. A designer, on the other hand, introduces a whole new category of being, a supernatural one.
Of course, the biggest pushback you hear is, we can't see these other universes. We can't test for them. So, is this even science? Or is it just a wild guess?
Well, you gotta remember, science does this all the time. We've never seen an atom or a quark or the inside of a black hole with our own eyes. We infer that they exist because they're the best explanation for the things we can see. The multiverse isn't just a random shot in the dark, it's a potential consequence of our best, most tested theories about how our own universe works.
Okay, but what created the multiverse generating machine, right? Doesn't this just kick the can down the road, pushing the ultimate mystery back a step? It's a really good question.
And the answer is, yeah, kinda. But every explanation has to stop somewhere. You can always ask, well, what caused that? The design theory stops with the designer, but then you have to ask, so who designed the designer? The multiverse theory stops with some fundamental universe-generating law of nature. For a lot of scientists, stopping in a natural law just feels like a more satisfying and less mysterious dead end.
So, all this brings us to the final showdown. At the end of the day, we're left with two huge competing explanations for the cosmos we find ourselves in. And as Peter Van Inwagen himself puts it, once you accept that the fine-tuning is real and needs explaining, you're pretty much left with these two options. Either our universe was purposefully made, or it's just one of countless rolls of the cosmic dice. And honestly, both of those ideas are absolutely staggering to think about. And that leaves us right back where we started, but with a much sharper question. Is this incredible, life-friendly order we see all around us a clue, a sign pointing towards some ultimate purpose, or is it just what happens when reality is so mind-bogglingly vast that anything that can happen will happen somewhere? Is it scale, or is it design? That's the choice the fine-tuning puzzle leaves us to grapple with.